All right, let's get into this week's mailbag. You can email info@davidpakman.com. If you have something to say, please don't abuse the email. Unfortunately, the reason I keep saying this is we now have over 100 different people that are emailing us so regularly, almost using our email address like a blog, free association of whatever's going through their minds. We have over 100 people whose emails are automatically filtered into a folder that we never look at unless law enforcement says, please forward us your communications with these people, which sometimes happens, but please don't abuse it. Okay. Let's keep it respectful. All right. Let's jump right into it here. Here's someone who sounds reasonable. Why aren't you talking about the Biden crime family dragging us into war? The Burisma deal with Hunter Biden is going to have the USA in war with Russia. And because Biden colluded with Russia, gave them the pipeline, we have no bargaining and we're over a barrel. This will not be a just war, but an evil war. Of course you won't, because you're nothing but a communist propagandist, a liar lying your damn ass off. Brutal attack on the English language here. I actually think that it's legally a requirement that if you write hate mail, you have to use the wrong your versus your, like you apostrophe re. It seems to be a legal requirement from what I'm getting. If we end up in a conflict with Russia, it will not be the United States alone, and it will not be because of Hunter Biden. I don't know that there's that much else to say here. And so I won't say anything else. Next message. Only commie idiots like you think Democrats are actually good. In one line, you can pack such disinformation. And this one is funny because I'm neither a communist nor a Democrat. And as those who have been following the show for some time know, I get criticized by the actual socialists because I'm not a socialist. And then the right says I am a socialist, or in this case, a communist. In terms of Democrats are good, I think I'm one of the most consistently indifferent to the Democratic Party. I'm not as actively hostile to it as others are, but I don't care at all about the Democratic Party. I've never been a Democrat. I see the Democratic Party as having as its number one goal self-preservation. They want to stay in power. And I really couldn't care less about the Democratic Party. As far as Democrats are good, if you're talking about how I vote, I look at each race, I look at the candidates, and I pick the one that I think would do the least damage and the most good. It's almost boring. But no, not a communist, not a Democrat either. Michael wrote in about religious exemptions. Michael says, hey, David, I just watched your segment about the serviceman who was asking for the religious exemption for the vaccine. He said something about the pedigree of technology or something, and then ended with convicted in the spirit. Then you rightly pointed out all the other vaccines that service members are required to get and asked where in the Bible or other religious texts does it say one list is fine, but the COVID vaccine is bad. Mike writes, the only thing he said that he could argue to those who speak his language, going back to Amanda Montell's cult language concepts, is convicted in the spirit. As a recent convert away from Christianity, I still recognize the coded language of the group. This means, in short, God is telling him not to get the vaccine, and that is his justification for religious exemption, not any text. Any rational person wouldn't be able to follow his logic, but most in Christendom would. That's very interesting. So it's sort of like a get out of jail free card. If you say, well, I'm against it for religious reasons, and then someone like me shows up, and I understand. I got a very nice email from a lawyer who said, legally, it's problematic to say, show us where your religion says that. I get it. But someone like me shows up in a conversation and I go, oh, where does your religion say that? It seems that this, I'm convicted by the Spirit not to get the vaccine, is sort of like a get out of jail free catch-all where you can drop that in and it could basically just be, God told me. God told me not to get it. And of course, that puts us in the realm of indefeasible. Well, I don't know, whatever this person thinks God told them, we can't really prove or disprove one way or the other. Many of you writing in about the recent word salads from Jordan Peterson. And one such person was Kim. Kim wrote in and said, "Hey, David, regarding Jordan Peterson's incoherent biblical rant, I believe it was his attempt to explain that the Bible as we know it today is a collection of books. For example, the book of Matthew is a book that's included in the Bible. I think you were right when you said that his word salad tricks people into thinking he's smarter than they are. Peterson says enough logical, well-thought-out comments to bait his audience. This interview is obviously not well thought out. I'm referring to clips of him from years ago. But once he hooks his listeners, he leads them down the incel pipeline that creates school shooters. That's very, very aggressive, and I suspect not completely without merit. But yeah, the tough thing about Jordan Peterson is he always did the word salads, and they were always very borderline in terms of being sort of interesting and being wacky, disjointed delusions. And I think it's only gotten like 5% worse, but it was so borderline to begin with that now it's very clearly over the line. That's sort of my sense of it. And we've got some more Jordan Peterson stuff coming up to talk about. Rodney wrote in about me leaving the country. And again, sort of a misunderstanding. Rodney wrote, this is why sometimes I'm like, I shouldn't even talk about certain things because it will be so misunderstood. Rodney said, "David, my wife and I are proud to be members who joined without accepting a discount so we could further your broadcast experience." Thank you, Rodney. I appreciate that. "We enjoy your program very much and rarely miss a show. You've talked about how it's necessary to take these crazy right-wingers such as Matt Gaetz and Newt Gingrich seriously. There are probably a few who do not, but I think most of your listeners recognize the seriousness of what these people are saying and what they will do if they get the opportunity. What would you have us do now that you know we are taking them seriously? We would not vote for them ever. What else can we do? We are ready. So if things become bad in this country, you're going to leave? Or perhaps I should say, if things get worse, most of us do not have the means to just leave, even if we wanted to do so. It's a little disheartening to realize that is your intention. It's like that old expression, when the going gets tough, the tough get going, out of the country. It's kind of like abandoning your teammates, in my view. Until then, keep up the good work. Let me say again, I have no plan to leave the country. I have no plan to leave the country. I would love to spend more time in the place I was born, Argentina, and maybe after the pandemic, it'll be a possibility. But I have no plan to leave. My immediate family is in the United States. My work is in the United States. Most everybody I know is in the United States. I have no plan to leave. The question was, if it got so bad you felt you had to leave, where would you go? And I listed the places. That's all. I'm not abandoning everybody. I have no plan to leave, and I shouldn't even have brought it up. Okay, next email. Mike says, "Just admit that you're a Democrat already. You claiming that you're not a Democrat is the equivalent of Tim Pool claiming he isn't a Republican." I don't know anything about Tim Pool's party registration. I just don't. So I can't talk about Tim Pool. When I claim I'm not a Democrat, I'm just telling you the truth. I've never been a Democrat. I don't care about the Democratic Party as an institution. I believe, as I said 10 minutes ago in this segment, that the Democratic Party's main goal is its own self-preservation, not the good of the average person. So I would be lying if I said I was a Democrat. Now, mostly in the modern era, in partisan elections, I'm opting to vote for the Democrat, but I don't do anything with the Democratic Party. I don't donate to it. I don't fundraise. I don't care about it. So when I say I'm not a Democrat, I'm just telling you the truth. All right, here's the last one. And this one is as crazy as anything I have ever received. JJ wrote to me, Did you know Biden made sure the hospitals stay bankrupted by making it so the water runs on electricity? That makes it so water for hospitals no longer free. The same with the paper towel dispensers. Almost everything got hooked up to electricity. There are 0 hospitals in America. I didn't know that. The doctor no longer check the suction cup part of the vagina, so females might die from a tampon being stuck in their bodies. You know, I have to say, the other day I drove by some places where there used to be hospitals. All I saw was suction cups. The hospitals are gone. So maybe JJ is onto something. No, in all seriousness, this is scary. This is scary wacky. I don't know what JJ is talking about. We've got a great bonus show for you today. Sign up at joinpakman.com. You'll get instant access. And remember, you can send me your thoughts that may be featured in the mailbag. info@davidpakman.com. We'll see you on the bonus show or otherwise Monday